All right. Just got done with our second scrimmage. It was our 13th practice. Schedule-wise, it'll lead into an off day tomorrow, off day where they move out of the hotel tomorrow, and then we've got 2 more days of technically fall camp. 2 huge days for us from a situational football standpoint. And then we'll get into a true mock game week on Thursday, 2 weeks out, into a mock game week, and then into a real game week. So their days are going to be all jacked up. It'll be a Sunday on a Friday, and then a Monday on a Saturday. So it'll feel a little bit like back to my days of Maction, just not in October, which we'll actually get to do that as well in October. For really these last couple of days, the main focus has been detail. And I know big word, but detail in the sense of not just now, how do I line up? What's my technique? And certainly not the effort of what you practice it with, but man, what is actually going on from a situational football standpoint, being able to play down to down to down, being able to play situations from a 2-minute drill to a 4-minute drill to tight zone to third down, and being able to get in and out throughout a practice. Those are the things that today was a huge emphasis. We kicked off, coming off the sideline with clock and real officiating and all of that. So there's a ton to clean up, I think days like this are just as much for the coaches as they are for the players in terms of the true operation of what it takes to play a game. Finish the day with a 4-minute drill and then a 2-minute drill to finish it off. But really good work. I'm really encouraged by the want to from this team right now. It's taken a minute, but we've gotten it to where you walk into the locker room, you walk into the building every day, and there's a genuine sense of excitement, a genuine sense of we get to go to work today. And not that it hasn't always been that way, but it's certainly been 2.5 years of building to that. I think the intent has been awesome. I think our older guys have really stepped up to provide leadership for these young guys, these super talented young guys that are still finding their way. It'll be awesome to get out of the hotel, and now they're going to have to take this process that they've learned through camp and be able to create real sustainable habits here going into now school starting here in a week, and then what a normal routine gets going like once there's other things going on. What's been super awesome about camp is it's just been ball and us and nothing else. So it's been awesome. It's been fun. I want to make sure we go finish the right way these last 2 days of camp, and then we'll turn our focus over to Boise State, the full force, and that'll be exciting. So I'll turn it over to questions.
You mentioned the mock game week starting on Thursday. Does that lead up to a final scrimmage? When is that final key scrimmage?
Yeah, we'll have a mock game week, which will be a true game week with an extra, essentially, day off in there. What would be like a normal walkthrough day would be an off day for them. And then truly a week out, so Thursday the 21st, we'll have a mock game that'll be truly situational. We won't bang that day. We'll have essentially half of a normal practice, and then that'll lead into your end-of-game situations, end-of-game plays on both sides. Truly being on the same sideline now, coming off the same sideline, special teams coming off of the same sideline, almost like a dress rehearsal, which we do every Friday leading into the games, but it'll be a week out. But scrimmage-wise, in terms of, we'll have one more day of tackling, but in terms of true scrimmage-like situations, this was the last one.
Coach, is it difficult from your perspective to find that spot between underworking and overworking your team during fall?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think you do this for so long, and you keep getting new information that you're trying to make sure you're finding that soft spot of getting the physical and the technical work as well as the tactical work while doing everything in your power to keep these guys healthy. I think in a lot of ways that starts in the off season in terms of how you train both physically and mentally. And then we use so much science now. These guys are wearing GPSs. These guys are wearing heart monitors. you are using so much science in the prep leading up to it, and then as you go throughout. But it's all planned ahead, and then you've got to be able to adjust a little bit. But I think that's that fine line. I think we all come from a train of thought where you try to, I think back to 3-a-days when I was playing, and you're like, man, what in the world were we doing? But you know what? We made it out on the other side, and I'm standing here today, and I think it probably made us tougher in a lot of ways. I think we've used science to still try to build toughness while being really smart. But that is really, really a great question, because year to year, you're constantly taking notes. You're constantly trying to figure out what is the right middle ground to ultimately line up and be able to sustain what you hope to be 15, 16 weeks of physical and mental grind. So you got to prepare them. There's a boot camp element to it. But then now, once we get into the mock game week, it's going to be a matter of getting their bodies back, minds back to what a routine really is.
Coach, talk about the importance to you and your program with Victory Day.
Victory Day, is honestly my favorite night of the year. And I say that wholeheartedly. It's every time we leave Victory Day, the guys that hadn't gone through it before will say, man, that was more powerful for us than it was for the young men and women that get a chance to participate in it. It's an opportunity for young men and young women and boys and girls that wouldn't normally get an opportunity to do football drills, go score a touchdown with cheerleaders, with the band, with a bunch of really, really good football players around them, celebrating them for a night. It's a really humbling experience. I think it's everything we talk about as a program. Just give more of yourself than you ever take from anybody else, and it's a night to celebrate the young men and women in our community that have a disability, but that doesn't stop them from having an incredible night here.
Alex, Josh, with the number 63, really neat bit of recognition that you're starting here. If you could talk about that and how it fits him too, and what all he brings to the program.
Yeah, Andrew Warsaw, our general manager and chief of staff, brought that up about a year ago, and said, man, we've got to find a way to honor Leroy Selman and really what he did for the football program, the university, this community. And we walk into the Leroy Selman Center every day and work there. I'd be probably lying to you if I told you we've educated our guys on who Leroy was. And Michael Kelly, every time he'd come in and speak to our team for the last 2 years at the beginning of camp, he would bring up and talk about what Leroy meant to the athletic department, meant to starting football here, certainly meant to the football program in terms of getting it into the Big East at the time. But then you meet Leroy Selman Jr. and you meet the family, and you're like, man, like what he left here was a legacy of humility, a legacy of giving more of yourself than taking from the program. And Joey and I sat down before yesterday, before the announcement, and Joey had these articles that he did, and it was fascinating to really hear more and more about Leroy going back to his playing days. But ultimately, it was an opportunity for us to honor somebody that gave so much to our program and gave so much to this community, and honor somebody that resembles those same values and carry on this tradition of wearing the number 63 within our program. And we sat down, talked about who it would be, and making sure it was the right person. And there were several guys we talked about, but Josh is a young man that got here in January, and I knew Josh as a freshman coming in, and tried to get him here 2 years ago, and he answered the call but didn't choose to come here, and then came here in January and has brought so much energy, so much leadership, so much guidance to that defensive line room, which, to be honest with you, we needed, and slowly matriculated over to the entire defense and now the team. And Josh's maturity has been so fascinating to watch over the years. Josh is married. Josh has a daughter. He has such a purpose to doing what he does every day. He's still young, but he comes to work every day and tries to help everybody around him. And again, I didn't get a chance to meet Leroy, but you meet the entire family, and that's what he did when he was a player with the Bucks, and then when he got into private business, and then eventually an administrator here. It was always servant leadership, servant leadership, servant leadership. And I think, I've made a big deal about our offensive and defensive lines, and that's how you build a program. And it's a really, really cool deal for that D-line room to have somebody representing that number, and you hope for years to come somebody striving to be that.
Excuse me, this is a question from Joey Knight. He asked me to ask you. He's listening right now. Hi, Joey. He's doing well. But he wants to know your thoughts on hiring a CFO instead of an athletic director and what that could mean for your program.
Yeah, I saw Joey put out a tweet. I was counting on Joey being here, but maybe we'll do a phone call later. But I'm glad Joey's doing well, and like I said before, he's a big part of covering us, and positive or negative always does treats us fairly. So I respect the heck out of Joey, and I appreciate him. The thought on the CEO part, rather than truly an AD, you read what Will put out, and Will and I and Jay and I had talked about it before it got put out, and what do we need? And that's since the day that job came open. The conversations have been, what do you need right now? And truly, what do we need as an athletic department? And obviously, I look at it through a football lens, but when you look at it through a big picture lens, there's so many things that are happening in college football right now that are different than they were, say, 4 or 5 years ago, and really different than they were a year ago, and on July 1st changed even more. And you need somebody that one can see big picture, how to generate revenue. That's become the name of the game from a leadership standpoint. You've got to be able to generate revenue, one, to acquire talent, both players and coaches, but two, to be able to continue to grow within the programs that you have. And we've operated here since I got here in every imaginable way on a Power 4 level in terms of how we support our student athletes, the quality of people that you have, and that's all been because from Will Weatherford to Rhea to MK at the time and now Jay Stroman, there has been zero resistance to whatever we need if it's going to help our student athletes and going to help our players. And so I think the revenue generation part is one. I think this drive as an athletic department to continue to find ways to make sure as the college athletic landscape is changing that we're in the conversation on a national level, whatever that looks like. And I know conference realignment being the hot topic. For me, it truly comes down to being able to retain players, and on top of acquiring players, being able to retain staff on top of being able to hire the right staff, and then at the end of the day, win football games, because that's what I can control. But I know in terms of basketball, the investment that's been made in both basketballs and baseball, and certainly our other sports, you need somebody to manage that big picture more so than the hiring and firing of coaches, but you need to be able to manage that part of it and then find revenue streams that can generate revenue. So at the end of the day, that's why the title and the decision-making there.
Along those same lines, we've been talking for several years about the on-campus facility coming, but now we hear trucks, you're out there practicing with cranes and such, you can look out of your window, all your guys can see this, all your recruits see it. What's it mean to have the reality of this in the shadow of your practices every day, to know that this is real, this is coming, and everybody can see it every day?
Yeah, I think it shows the commitment that's been made here. I think you look around the country and everybody's finding ways to cut right now. So much credit, again, I feel like just talked about Will Weatherford, Mike Griffin. So much effort has been made to continue to invest and continue to invest and continue to invest. It's a sign of a commitment that we are just going to continue to build, and we're going to continue to pour into our student athletes, the fan experience, and for the guys that we're recruiting right now, where you used to show it to them on a picture or a PowerPoint, to actually be able to walk out there and say, man, like, it's actually coming. But it's really, really cool. It's really cool to hear cranes there's metal poles in the ground. I just asked Andrew Warsaw what the poles are, and he said elevators, and I think he made that up because he has no idea. But it's they're working, and it's really cool because you get to hear it, you get to see it. There's so much excitement. I joke with our seniors. I grabbed Matt Karras the other day. I'm like, that'll be sweet, won't it? You won't be able to get in there, but it's pretty cool. But I do think it's for these guys that are playing that won't be in the facility, won't be in the stadium. They're a part of building. They're a part of it. Just talked to S.J. Green out there. We had a couple former players back, and he's like, man, that would have been sweet to have that when I was here. So it'll be a point of pride for so many alums, both football and then just South Florida alums in general, to be able to come and have a gathering place on Saturdays in the fall. It'll make it feel like college football.
Coach, with all these changes in NIL and the House settlement, I know you've talked about NIL putting a lot on your plate lately. How does that change how you lead this team and recruit?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it doesn't change how you lead this team one bit in terms of what you do from a day in, day out standpoint. We've done a really, really good job of never making it about the money. Is it a part of the conversation on the recruiting side? It absolutely is. We've made a huge commitment here to recruit guys, retain guys, and develop guys. And the recruiting is a big part of it. I think the retention is an even bigger part. I think revenue sharing and NIL is part of it. I think what you do day to day with these guys is a way, way bigger part of it. I will say this, in the recruiting side, it has never been about the money. I think you see so many programs around the country where, as you're talking to guys, especially guys that are in the portal, where if the relationship starts and ends with the money piece, I think the retention you never actually get to because you're coming on the wrong premise. We've taken so much time on the front end, our staff and certainly myself, of being real on the front end. How we recruit these guys is still very much relationship and development and giving them the opportunity to grow as young men and then having an opportunity to go play at the next level. The development piece and what this whole thing really is, we never lie about. We recruit truthfully, honestly, with integrity in terms of what the heck this really is. And guys that get turned off, or guys that, and families that say, man, like, well, that school's offering us a ton more money. Cool, we'll go find the next one. We're good. We are so focused on the development piece and the retention piece, and the retention piece being very, very merit-based. Like, what are you actually doing here that resonates in your value to this program, to this community, to this university? I think if it ever becomes truly about the money, I think you got a chance to cripple the locker room, and we've been really, really guarded against that. But certainly changed the game. Hasn't changed drastically how we recruit. Certainly has changed drastically in how we retain. But ultimately, we've made such a huge emphasis on the development piece and the relationship piece that the retention is happening day to day in terms of how we develop, how we treat our players. And it all starts with being real, being honest, and developing real relationships with these guys.
Coach, you talk from time to time about the importance of winning in the margins, finding the hidden yards, finding the edge. And certainly special teams are a part of that. I think people notice special teams when things go wrong, but when they're elite, when you have great kickers and returners and coverage people, how much of an edge can that be, and how much of an edge can your special teams be to taking you to the next level?
Yeah, hidden yardage, such a huge piece. The special teams part is huge, and I was a special teams coordinator myself and took so much pride in it. I think now as the head coach, I still take so much pride in it. Chad Creamer, Tyler Majewski, those guys have done an incredible job with our teams. Probably didn't get talked about enough. We've been really, really good on special teams here. Part of that is the specialist. Part of that is the emphasis on it. We spent a lot of time on it. The specialists make up a huge part of that, but our very first special teams meeting of fall camp, you talk about winning in the margins and you talk about it being a game of inches. We put our very last football game, the bowl game, up. And you talk about a 4-minute drill for San Jose State with a stop, forced punt, a punt return by Sean Atkins that essentially gets you to midfield, and then you end up 2-minute drill to kick a tying field goal that bounces off the right upright. I'm talking about game of inches. And then obviously go to overtime. There was like so many examples of within a 2.5-minute period of 4-minute drill, 2-minute drill, a punt return, and a field goal, all inches away from going one way or the other, and a culmination of all of it. But from a special teams standpoint, we spent a bunch of time on it. We coach detail in it like crazy. We talk a lot about transferable skills, the ability to block, the ability to get off blocks, the ability to tackle in space, the ability to create leverages. It's no different than offensive and defensive football. We try to correlate it in a lot of ways. And our best players play on special teams, which I think emphasizes it even more. I think in our program, and there have been a bunch of different examples, I've talked about it before, but using special teams to create confidence within guys before they have a big-time role offensively or defensively. I talked about Jaquan Smith a year ago, one of our best special teams players. Halfway through the year, he becomes a starter, and he's confident because he's played in big moments, made open field tackles, covered on units, and been out in the spotlight. Keyshawn Singleton's another one that made a name for himself on special teams before he had the opportunity to really play on offense. And it's kind of a natural progression when you have a program that's got depth. You can build it that way, but a huge, huge emphasis. And I'm super excited about our specialists right now with Garrett Cates kind of being the leader of that group. A Tampa kid that was a walk-on here that's become one of the best long snappers in the country. You got these kickers that are competing like crazy. Both have had a phenomenal camp. And then these punters, we got 2 Aussies that are competing like crazy, and they are both uniquely different and uniquely special. So excited about that unit. Hopefully you ain't talking a lot about them until something big happens, because you're right, it usually is when something, like I told Garrett Cates, I'm like, hopefully nobody knows who the heck you are.
The other thing about the Hawaii Bowl, I can't remember the timing of it, was Stokes' 72-yard punt that flipped the field. I think that might have started the whole thing.
That started the 4-minute drill. Then don't bring that up in front of people, Joe. I forgot about it, but you're 100% right.
Alex, last season, time of possession was a problem at times for you guys. Has that been a point of emphasis in camp so far? And what can you do to improve that?
In what way was time of possession a problem?
Well, you were in the national rankings. I went back and looked it up. You were one of the lower teams in total time of possession, and that can have an effect on your defense because they're out there quicker and so on and so forth. At least that's my read on it.
Gotcha. So just you're saying statistically our time of possession wasn't high. Gotcha. The biggest emphasis in terms of offensive football is points per possession. I would tell you points per possession weren't where they needed to be. The higher the points per possession, the better you are because you score more points. In terms of the defense, I would agree with you in the less the defense is out on the field, the fresher they are. But points per possession is what we're essentially chasing. We're chasing extra possessions and then points per possession. That's ultimately how you score more points. So creating turnovers on defense, creating negatives on defense, creating extra possessions, creating turnovers on special teams, creating extra possessions, and then being able to sustain drives in order to score more points. But in terms of the actual number of time of possession, probably an overdone stat. But you're right in terms of the stat is the stat.
A lot's been made out of this out-of-conference schedule with the preseason rankings just coming out. How often do you look at the AP poll and consider, some of those rankings?
I've never looked at the AP poll. I am a voter in the coaches poll, though, so.
Never looked at it.
The AP poll, I know when somebody's ranked because you obviously know you're playing a ranked opponent, but I don't look at it I don't know what information I would get out of it other than Segrist gives us the deal at the beginning of the week, and you're playing a ranked team. I do know we're playing 3 ranked teams to start the season, which is awesome. That's obviously where we're trying to go. So you want to be ranked, you got to go beat ranked teams. And so for us, it's an awesome opportunity. I've really tried to keep the focus to one at a time in terms of right now it's been us against us, camp, developing, growing, and then when we turn the page over on Thursday to Boise, I don't know where they are in the AP poll, 25. So we get to play the number 25 team in the country in Boise. I know this. I watched them play on crossover against San Jose a year ago, watched them play in the playoffs It's a really, really good football team. So top 25, top 15, top 10, it's a really good football team. They've set the standard over the last 15 years of consistency in probably getting more out of less than anybody in the country in terms of resources, location, all of that. So a lot of credit to them. It'll be an awesome challenge, and our guys will be geeked up to play.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Brian, I need a copy of the AP Top 25.
Off the presses it is, too.
Yeah, just out.
Yep.
There's at least 3 conference teams in the also receiving vote.
Well, Tulane, Memphis, and UTSA.
It was number 63.
How y'all doing?
Great, Josh.
How's that 63 feel on you?
Feels good, actually. Feels like legendary in a way. Like just me adding to my own legacy, kind of too. Like not just honoring him, but honoring myself and building my own legacy.
Has it sunk in yet that you're being honored with this?
Actually, yesterday, whenever Leroy Jr. had gave me the jersey and stuff like that, and then just hugging his wife, his mom, and Leroy Selman's wife, and I was just so happy in a way. It just knowing it's a great honor, and it's just something that I know will not just honor him, but it's gonna honor myself too as the person I'm trying to become.
And it honors a guy who's been in the trenches like you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
How much do you know about Leroy's career?
I've actually been trying to look up things and reading certain stuff. I know he got drafted in 1976. He's played at Oklahoma. He had a great career at Oklahoma as well. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame. I know he's in the NFL Hall of Fame. He got inducted to the NFL Hall of Fame in 1995 and stuff like that. But I've just been learning different things about him each and every day. I just know he's a great human being as well, not just a player, but a human being off the field as well. So I'm doing my best to learn everything about him and trying to see what's the best thing to do off the field as well to honor him too.
How much responsibility do you feel wearing that number?
Feel a lot of responsibility, not really any pressure, but responsibility for sure. Knowing this is somebody that's very notable in the Tampa area. It's just I have to do my part as not just a student athlete, but a person that's honoring his legacy.
You'll see his name up in the Ring of Honor at Ray J.
Yeah, I actually on film we watch past film clips, and it always pans to his name in the stadium before we watched a next clip or something like that, and everybody was yeah, look at his name is in the film and stuff like that. So.
What did you react when they told you that you were the one?
Whenever I was called up to Coach Golesh's office, and at first I was kind of afraid because I was I get a call to his office for? So I walked in. Him and Warsaw, they presented the opportunity for me to honor his legacy and stuff like that. So to me, I've never cared about my number, honestly, because it's not the number doesn't make you make the number. So I always said I'm cool with whatever you guys want to do, and they said they was just gonna make it a big thing, and I'm honestly excited for this year. I'm not even really worried about anything. It's just play ball, have fun. You feel me? Yeah.
Josh, you're in your master's program now, right?
I'm not. I'm in a non-degree seeking thing right now because I think I came in too late to the point where I couldn't get into a master's program, but it's okay. I'm probably gonna work on my master's after my college career. Yeah. So.
You wanted to get into that sports psychology realm, right?
Mm-hmm, for sure.
What intrigues you about that? What about it?
Honestly, just knowing a lot of student athletes, they don't know what to do after football or after their sport. So it's for me, I just want to be that kind of person to help in a way. I know they had a Selman Mentoring Institute in 2013 after he passed. So it's kind of something I want to do that too, because it's they're helping student athletes like find their footing in like the career world whenever they get done with like their sport in college. So yeah, that's just something I want to do. Like even if like I've heard stories also about Leroy that student athletes used to just go up to his office and like have conversations with him, and they'll feel like it's like a sigh of relief in a way. So it's like even though he didn't have like a bachelor's in psychology or something like that, he still was like somebody that could like, you know, they went to talk to and like have conversations to. So it's like, doesn't matter what degree you're in or anything, your student athletes, if they trust you, they're willing to talk to you and have conversation with you. So that's just something I want to do, really.
And your older brother, I believe he started his college career roughly a decade before you did.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And if you could talk about the impact that he's had on you as far as helping you with everything, not just on the field as a student athlete, but also off the field, you know, things that you're going to run into during your collegiate career. And so
Yeah,
forth.
well, talking to my brother, like me and my brother, we have like a real close relationship. I'm talking to him every day. Even he's coaching at University of Massachusetts right now. So we talk about fall camp and stuff like that, how it's a grind and everything. But like going back on like childhood stuff and everything like that, watching his career pan out, and when he went off to the league, getting injured and then getting cut, he's known what's going on in like this profession. So I've always asked him like, what should I be doing? What should I be looking for? Who should I be talking to? Stuff like that. But it's like, honestly, he just giving me great advice on like how I should take each and every day. Like each and every day, I just, you know, one foot in front of the other, not really worried about what's going to happen in the future. He's always said like, be where your feet are and stuff like that. It's gonna come eventually. So like navigating through everything, he's just giving me great advice. I've learned a lot, and he's just like a person that I go to whenever if I'm in trouble or if I have anything that I don't understand, I talk to him about.
Ultimately, why did you decide to come here to USF?
Honestly, I say my relationship with Coach Golesh, and then the relationship I built with Coach KP. I know I went to UCF for 4 years, had a great career there, and then I just went from there to A&M, and I just had a situation where it's like, okay, you played in the SEC, you try to go play in the SEC and didn't pan out, and it's okay. At the end of the day, I had a great conversation with Coach Golesh, and at that point, it was just about trust for me. Like I didn't need a school that was like big time and like had their name on the radar. I just needed a school that trusted me and believed in me to like go out there and play ball. So Coach Golesh, he's been with me my freshman year at UCF. So whenever he called me and like we had a conversation, he was like, you want to come do this thing with me? I was like, for sure. And then talking to Coach KP had a great career at Miami. And a little bit into his professional career, he had a good career. So he just literally had a good conversation with me. We talked about a lot of things, and I just loved everything he presented to me as far as like what my role would be on the team and how I would be a great impact to what's going on around here. So yeah, I would say that was the main thing, my relationship with Coach Golesh and going into my relationship with Coach KP as well.
So when you talk to teammates, they say, you know, you're a guy that sets an example they can follow. Do you think young guys coming in, even though they may look really confident, or young guys just needing somebody to follow these days with all the pressures of the world, and like young people in general just need that person?
They definitely do. I know some of my teammates, they come to me about certain things, certain situations, and I've always just like given my input. I never like really try to steer them into like the right decision. I was just like, bro, I think you should do this, or I think you should like think about what could happen in the negative and positive aspect, like, you know, pros and cons of things. And they normally like make the right decision because I would tell them what I would do, and then they would do exactly the same thing. But at the end of the day, it's just like you want younger guys to make the right decisions. Like, and that's how I've always like operated my whole career, like trying to make the right decisions and not trying to get in trouble and stuff like that. So it's just like, you need that person in your life. Like my older brother was that person for me, and I'm that person for the younger guys right now.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
one legacy to another.
How you guys doing? How are you? Good.
So Nico, after having some notable moments as a freshman, how are you seeking to build on that and have an even better year this year?
Yes, sir. So I'm just trying to build trust with the unit. We work out every day together, and we're on the field every day together, and we're just building every single day to be the best versions of ourselves.
What about yourself? How do you evaluate last year? I know you had some big ticket moments that everybody remembers, but overall your consistency and how you progressed.
So it's just coming in every day, just being the same person, working out with the group, but also working out by yourself as well. For me, it was coming in with my dad and my uncle to just learn and get better at that consistency and just work every day.
What would you say, Nico, is the best advice either Santiago or your dad have given you? What stands out to you? What are they?
I think the best thing they've given me was to take every kick one kick at a time. Don't look back on a kick if it's a make or a miss, or don't try to think about the next kick you're going to have. Just be in that moment and focus on that one kick.
Take us through, you leave the huddle till you kick the football. What's your pre-kick routine?
So like for when you're going out to kick a field goal, you're like just on the sideline. I kick a couple balls in the net to stay warm. But then when they call field goal, I try to stay back from everyone and just telling myself, like just mental notes I've always said to myself. And I always tell myself just to stay forward, stay through the ball, and just telling myself those mental notes and then going onto the field and trying to make the kick.
Did you ever have to pick up a bad snap and do something with it?
No, actually, right now we have a really great long snapper, Garrett Cates, and then really good holder out of Chase and Luke, both our new Australian punters, that I haven't really had to do that. We do work it in practice with Coach Majewski just in case, but our long snapper's been so good that hopefully we don't have to do that.
I don't want to have you give away a trade secret, but if you have to pick it up, are you going to throw it?
No, I'm falling on it. I'm just going to get down on it.
This may be a silly question.
Yes,
I know
sir.
you work on your routine and everything.
Yes, sir.
Motion. Do you keep it just on the football field or in your dorm room or wherever you are and randomly decide to think about kicking?
So, can you ask that again?
Off the field,
Sorry.
off the field, are you always thinking about?
I think when I come out to kick, definitely thinking about how can I get better every single day. But then at home, when I'm with my parents or with my brother as well, we talk about like what I did that day and see what we can do to improve. So.
Speaking about your brother, I mean,
Yes.
knowing he's committed to play here, what's that going to be like for you?
It's going to be awesome. I'm so happy that G got to commit and stay here in Tampa. One, for our family, just to stay together. But secondly, we work off each other too. Like whenever we go out to kick all the time together, and I can tell what's wrong with him sometimes, and he helps me all the time and tells me what, like, if something's wrong or something's off. So like we're both going to try to help each other be the best we can.
Nico, what's the experience been like at USF overall? Obviously your uncles.
Yes, sir. I think this is a dream place for, I think, any student athlete, just the facilities, the people, the family atmosphere. And last year when I came in the spring, they brought me in, and like everyone on the team was super nice. They all were all like nice, loving, and just brought me in as a teammate. And that's one thing that I thank the whole team for, and just because sometimes as a specialist, they try to push you away, but no, I think we're all really connected.
And I don't want to get ahead of yourself, of course, but you could be kicking in a new facility.
Yes.
Have you given that any thought, especially when you see all the construction equipment
I
coming
think
in?
whenever you're walking down the ramp right there, you see all the construction, all the different cars and everything back there. It's gonna be awesome. Hopefully, I'll be here.
Does your dad ever tell you about horror stories at Manhattan, Kansas?
Yeah, he does. He says freezing over there. I'm glad to be in the sun.
What's your range like these days? And is there a certain distance where you're like, okay, that might be stretched?
I think it depends on every day, because some days it's more windy than the others. Some days it comes off your foot differently. But for like 50, 55, I feel pretty good right now. So it just depends on the day.
Nico, obviously for fans, you know, they when you kick a 58-yarder or 51-yarder, they're going to think that's the notable. As a kicker, are you more impressed by that, or more impressed by some other level of consistency, or how do you judge yourself to know that, hey, I feel like I'm doing a good job?
I think like those big kicks are awesome, but the consistency is really cool. Like that's why you see all these kickers at that next level, like Justin Tucker. You have all these guys that have this big leg, but then are also super consistent inside of 40. And that's what I'm striving to be like, is just the most consistent guy I can be.
I had an NFL game the other night.
Yes.
Kicked a 70.
Yes.
Did you ever see yourself doing that?
Hopefully. Cam Little, has an incredible leg, incredible guy, and just that was crazy. We were actually walking into the team meeting, and someone had it on their iPad, and we got to see it live. That was just an incredible kick.
Do you have to make any changes kicking off turf and off grass?
No, sir. So just try to stay through that same routine every single day. And when you're warming up, it could be like your foot catches a little bit more on turf than grass, but like that just changes automatically.
See-ball, kickball.
Yes, sir.
Nico, as you probably know, special teams, they get noticed when things go wrong sometimes, and when they go right, people just take it for granted. But how important have you found special teams to be in this game in terms of making a difference?
I think we talk about it all the time. It wins or loses football games. Punt is you have an offensive and a defensive part to it. So I feel like special teams is a huge part of the game with the kickoff, with the punt and everything. And the field position battle too is if we can put them down closest to their end zone, they have to drive the whole field to score. So that's what we try to do and execute our job to give our defense the best field position.
Are there any new drills or techniques that you've added to your training this year?
There's I think mainly the stuff I do are steps and like just swing my leg without kicking it. Me and Coach Majewski had a meeting with my dad to see some other drills, but then like he helps me a lot, Coach Majewski, to show me new drills that he thinks, and then he also talks to me about like, do you like that drill? Do you not like that drill? And see what works for me. And that's what it's incredible to have him on our side too. That just shows us all these different things to be a better kicker.
Is there an NFL kicker that you really like to watch or model your game after a bit?
I like to watch my dad's old videos, because when I go back and look, we're like the same size. We wear the same size cleat. Like there's a lot of similarities with us. So I like to go watch some of his old videos to learn from and to see if there's something wrong with my technique that I have to fix to try to be the best version of myself.
Your dad was very excitable
Yeah.
after he would make a field goal. Do you feel that way, or is it just more business as usual?
I think, so he says it too. Growing up playing soccer, whenever you go on the field and you kick a field goal, you think it's like a goal. And you just get excited, and it's just the best time when you kick a field goal. And I feel like that's like when you score a goal in soccer.
Did you strongly consider playing soccer?
Until my junior year, it was between football and soccer. I started kicking my sophomore year of high school, and then I just said by my junior year I'm going to pick one, and I picked football, and then now I'm here.
So you mentioned, Garrett Cates has been mentioned as an incredible long snapper, and then I'm not sure who your holder is now, but I know the relationship with those guys is important. How do you guys kind of create that culture where you know what everybody's thinking at the same time?
I think it's that chemistry piece in the locker room. Like we're always together. If it's in the facility where either at practice or playing pool or doing something together, but then if it's outside of football, outside of this facility, we hang out all the time. Garrett has a house around here that we go to, and then they've been to my house as well, and we turned on the grill and grilled out some steaks. So it's just getting that unity into like that specialist group that I felt like we've grown tremendously.
Is it just all about trust?
It is,
That's what
definitely.
you guys have?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And why is Garrett so good at what he does? Is it just the consistency, the repetitions?
I think now he's a fifth-year guy, and just he comes in and is the same person every day. He's very consistent off and on the field, in the weight room, and when we come out here just as like to just do some indie work, he's the same person trying to get better every single day.
Thank you, Nico.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Nico.
thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
See you, Mike.
Yes, sir. Thank you.